Fulvia was born at the close of one outbreak of civil war, Sulla versus Marius, 83 to 81 BCE, lived through two more, Caesar versus Pompey, 49 to 45 BCE, Second Triumvirate versus the Liberators, 44 to 42 BCE, and her actions caused a fourth, Octavian versus Lucius Antonius, 41 to 40 BCE, and contributed directly to a fifth, Octavian versus Antony, 32 to 30 BCE, although this last one would not break out fully until after her death. What was the political situation in Rome like during her lifetime? What follows is not intended to be a blow-by-blow account of the fall of the Republic, nor a comprehensive account of all the political and military events that took place in the period 80 to 40 BCE. Rather, it is intended as an attempt to reconstruct, as far as possible, Fulvia as a living, breathing, flesh and blood Roman woman. Someone who loved her husbands, bore their children, loved those children, and worked her fingers to the bone, rightly or wrongly, in the service of her family. But here at the outset, some scene setting is necessary. By the time of Fulvia's birth, it is reasonable to describe Roman politics as comprising of two factions, the Optimates and the Populares. The Optimates considered themselves boni, the best men, and saw themselves as conservative and traditional, the guardians of the status quo. For example, Cicero, despite the fact that he was a novus homo, a new man without any consular ancestors. The Populares, on the other hand, saw themselves as representing the Roman people, and sought to increase the power of the Roman people and thereby the elected officials of the tribunate, for example, Clodius, Curio, and Antony, at the expense of the Senate as a body, although they were, of course, members of it. It would be too rigid to describe these as political parties or even ideologies, as individuals crossed between the factions, depending on where they believed their best interests to lie on any given day. Likewise, it would be too reductive to say that the Optimates represented the wealthy senatorial and equestrian elite, and the Populares the common people and the poor. All three of Fulvia's husbands can be described as Populares, and all three of them held the position of tribune of the plebs, inciting the people to further their own political agendas. Patricians and plebeians were two categories of Roman citizen, a division that went all the way back to the city's very beginnings. When Romulus founded Rome in 753 BCE, the Senate's first 100 members were the patres, fathers, and they and their descendants through the male line comprised the patrician order. Everyone else comprised the plebeian order. At the beginning of the Republic in 509 BCE, the patricians enjoyed a monopoly on political power, since only they could be members of the Senate, elected consuls, and hold the priesthoods. In response, the so-called struggle of the orders lasted until the start of the Middle Republic, 264 BCE, with the plebeians attempting to extract concessions from the patricians in order to achieve some semblance of political equality. Thus, for example, eventually, each year one consul would be a patrician and the other a plebeian, while the tribunes would always be plebeians. The consuls held a type of power known as imperium, which entitled them to convene and preside over the Senate and other popular assemblies.